need to pause it. There we go. Okay, I think I solved the problem. I see the audio mixer is working now. I'm so sorry, everybody. Thank you for everyone who waited patiently and told me about the audio problems. So I'll just wait a moment to make sure that that worked and that you can hear me. Great. Thank you so much. They should be. There's like a slight delay. So.
I like your speech.
Thanks. Oh, here, now I need to adjust the... Okay, great. Thank you, Prasad. Thank you so much, everyone who told me about that and who waited patiently. I use OBS for work as well, and I must have had a mic attached, a different mic attached at some point. So, thank you. All right, so I'll start from the beginning. So what I was saying was today is the first day of Sharad Navaratri, which Prasad pointed out. So that's why I'm aware of it, because unfortunately I'm not too familiar with Hindu holidays. So I did a bit of research, and it's a beautiful celebration of good versus, well, good overcoming evil and fighting the forces of evil that threaten peace. And so there's different stories and different deities that different parts of India honor and celebrate during this time, but they all have that common thread of good over evil and destroying the forces that threaten peace. So throughout class today, we will be contemplating what it means to be a warrior and discussing ways that we can bring warriorship into our own lives. Of course, we will practice Hatha Yoga as well and get moving and get a great workout too. But I hope you enjoy some of the passages that I'll be reading from this book, Shambhala, The Sacred Path of the Warrior. So for today's class, I really recommend a yoga mat if possible, and yoga blocks are a great prop. I think one of the most essential props in addition to the mat. And then to get started, we'll start in a seated position. So I recommend having some blankets or a bolster or firm cushions under your sit bones, just so it feels a little more comfortable here, especially if you're just waking up. You may be not quite loosened up yet. So it'll make sitting on the ground much more enjoyable. And we don't need to make things harder on ourselves than we need to. So if it helps you, please use those cushions. So take your time to gather the props that you need, and then we'll all come back here to a seated position together. And you can place your hands on your knees, maybe in prayer pose, or maybe one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. This particular pose is a really beautiful way to connect with yourself. So if you're feeling maybe a little a little lost or maybe a little sleepy this morning and you're not quite integrated with your physical body yet, you're not quite all present, placing one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart can help you to get in touch. So first, see if you can begin to become more aware of your physical body, becoming aware of the sensations that are going on within your body. And see if you can do this non-judgmentally and lovingly towards yourself. So you may notice aches and pains as you observe what's going on physically. And see if, I know it's difficult, but see if you can welcome that feeling. Instead of trying to push it aside or push your mind away from it, see if you can say, like, hello, pain. I acknowledge you and I accept the way this is right now. And this is often very difficult. So if you notice any emotions arising as you scan your body, please try to bring some love and kindness towards those emotions as well. So as you begin to become more aware of that physical body, you may notice how it feels to feel the air entering and exiting your nostrils. You may feel your belly or your chest pop as you breathe in. And as you become aware of your breath, once again, please observe it non-judgmentally. You may notice that your breath is maybe shallow or choppy or maybe very deep and smooth. And so whatever you notice, just know that that's the way you're breathing right now. And there's no need to force it or change it right now. Over time, throughout our practice, it'll likely move towards the direction where we want to be, but that'll happen naturally. So right now, please try not to change or force anything, just noticing. And while still remaining aware of our physical bodies, bring your attention as well to your emotional and mental state. What are the thoughts that are going through your mind right now? See if you can identify them. Once again, non-judgmentally. Are you feeling peaceful or anxious? Maybe you're annoyed because this class started a little late. That's okay. Maybe you feel awesome right now. You're having a great morning. So without attaching meaning or analyzing these feelings, see if you can just notice them and label them. And remember that whatever comes up, whatever you notice, this belongs. You may find that it's helpful if any troubling or difficult emotions come up. You can imagine as if you're embracing those emotions with a hug and a kiss. Or maybe you say something like, this belongs to, or I consent, I agree to these emotions. And as you breathe, see if you can make more space for all the feelings that are going on within your body, physically, emotionally. Taking a deep breath in into your belly, filling it up. Imagine as if you're actually physically creating more space for everything that's going on within you. A couple more deep belly breaths. Maybe repeating a mantra like this all belongs. And then we will open up the class and start moving some vibrations by chanting Om 3 times. And then you can just rest after we complete our Oms, and I'll just read a brief passage. So begin by breathing in deeply. So, as I mentioned, this book is called Shambhala, The Sacred Path of the Warrior. And Shambhala is a society that's enlightened. You may think of it as like a type of utopia. And some people believe that it did once exist. Others believe that it still exists somewhere out there physically. And some people think of it as a framework or a model for where we aim to be, what we hope for our world and for our society. The Shambhala teachings are founded on the premise that there is basic human wisdom that can help to solve the world's problems. The wisdom does not belong to any one culture or religion, nor does it come only from the East or the West. Rather, it is a tradition of human warriorship that has existed in many cultures at many times throughout history. The current state of world affairs is a source of concern to all of us. The threat of war, widespread poverty and economic instability, social and political chaos, and psychological upheavals of many kinds. The world is in turmoil. The Shambhala teachings are founded on the premise that there is a basic human wisdom that can help us solve these problems. Now, warriorship does not refer to making war on others. Aggression is the source of our problems, not the solution. Here, the word warrior is taken from the Tibetan and literally means one who is brave. Warriorship in this context is the tradition of human bravery or the tradition of fearlessness. So throughout the class, we'll be examining some ways that we can all be warriors, how we can be brave in our lives. And you'll find that when you think of warrior, think of strength and force, but a lot of the teachings in this book are extremely gentle. And you'll see that being a warrior doesn't mean exerting physical force. It's a beautiful way of being in tune with yourself and with others that's gentle and positive and beneficial. So we'll discuss that and contemplate that throughout the class. But let's go ahead and get started on our backs. Just to start warming up our physical body nice and gently. I promise the class will pick up pace and we'll get a great workout. So bear with me here as we start nice and slow on our backs. Separating your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. And then let your knees fall together and rest against one another. Place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And here, enjoy the settling feeling that you feel as your back relaxes into the mat, enjoying the support of the earth. And take 9 deep inhales and exhales. As you inhale, feel not only your belly expand as it fills with air, but also feel your lower back expanding, pressing into the mat. Once again, notice the thoughts that are going on in your mind as you breathe. See if you can relax into this pose, noticing any tension you might be holding on to, maybe in your mind or your body. And see if you can melt, soften, creating a sense of ease. And after your 9th exhale, extend your left leg and rest it all the way on the ground, hugging in your right knee towards your chest. And again, we're just getting started. There's no need to create any excessive force or pull very hard on this knee. See if you can allow your breath to take you deeper into the pose. With each exhale, you feel your knee reach a little bit closer towards your chest. Maybe you'd like to make some gentle circles with the knee, just slowly loosening up the hip. Now inhale really deep. And as you exhale, drawing your navel towards your spine, bringing your head and torso up off the mat, peeling up, bringing your nose towards your knee. See if you can lengthen your exhale. And whenever you are ready to inhale, release your head back down to the mat And take a regular cycle of breath in and out. And we'll repeat that lock one more time. So another deep inhale in. And as you exhale, peeling up off the mat, nose towards your knee. See if you can lengthen your exhale. And whenever you're ready to inhale, release. Now bend your left knee, setting the sole of your foot on the ground, and then stack your right ankle on top of your left thigh. So this is a supine pigeon pose. So before we go deeper into the pose, just take your right sole of your palm and place it right on that right hip crease. And just gently apply a little bit of pressure, pressing down and out, feeling an opening in the hip. So we're creating an external rotation, just extremely gently opening up the right hip. Breathing, always breathing. And then if you'd like to go deeper, feel free to reach for your left leg and hug it in towards your chest into a deeper form of supine pigeon. And feel free to just stay in that first variation. So wherever you're at right now is all good. There's no right or wrong. If it's serving your body, then it's all good. We don't want to go deeper than we need to. Release your left foot back down to the ground and extend your right leg all the way up to the sky. Begin to make some ankle circles, so rotating your toes in a nice big circle. Staying aware and mindful of the shape of the circle that you're making. So don't rush through it. See if you can feel each and every little micro movement. See if you can smooth out that circle and change direction. And then with control, see if you can lower your leg all the way down to the ground without bending your knee. If you have back pain, please do bend your knee. All right. Now hugging in your left knee into your chest. And remember, we started out nice and gentle. So just because your right side feels more loosened up now, we haven't given the left side any attention yet. So nice and gentle to start. Sometimes all it takes is a really deep belly breath to help you feel the pose more deeply. And you can feel free to make some circles with your knee. I'm just gently opening up the hip. And then let any movement there be still once again. And we'll do those locks. So you'll inhale deeply. Begin to exhale and then begin to peel your head and torso up off the mat, nose to knee. See if you can lengthen your exhale. And before you're ready to inhale, begin to release, lowering back down. Inhaling fully and deeply. Taking a regular cycle of breath in and out. And then another deep inhale in. And as you exhale, peeling yourself up, nose towards the knee. Release all the air out. Maybe you had more air inside of you than you thought. See if you can let it all out before releasing back down to the ground. Right knee bends, the sole of the foot rests on the mat. Rest your left ankle on your right thigh. And to start out, just taking the sole of your left hand, gently pressing it into your hip crease. Just a little bit of pressure down and out. You're almost thinking about rolling that left thigh away from your body, counterclockwise. And then you stay here if this feels good. If you'd like to go deeper, reaching for your right thigh and hugging it into your chest. And you can feel free to rock side to side if you'd like, or just be still. And I don't know if you all can hear my cat. He loves to go outside, but then he wants to come back inside. And I don't know if he's found peace yet today. he's anxious, I think, right now. Maybe he'll join us later. And go ahead and release your foot down to the mat if you're not already there. Extending your left leg all the way up to the sky. And begin to make those circles from the ankle. So your toes are drawing big circles, and see if you can make them smooth. See if you can stay mindful of the movement that you're making, each and every little micro movement. And switch directions. Stay present. If you notice your mind wandering, bring it back to the sensations that are going on in your body. And with control, lowering your leg down to the ground. Now bringing the soles of your feet together, just kind of further opening up the hips, coming into a supine bound ankle. Just for a couple of breaths. And again here, see if you can take a really deep breath into your belly. Maybe a little more air and then a little bit more, filling up your abdomen and chest. And as you exhale, just imagine as if your knees, your legs are completely relaxing. So here, just letting go allows us to go deeper. There's no need to hold on or tense up. Let everything go. And by doing so, you'll gain the benefit of the pose. Three more inhales and exhales. And then open your arms out to the sides, palms facing up. So this is a very receptive pose. You're receiving energy. And you're feeling just a nice stretch in your arms. So just gently rolling the back of your head over the surface of the mat. You'll feel a deeper stretch in the neck and the arms. So just nice and gently rolling the back of the head over the mat. Okay, bringing your arms in, extending your legs. Give yourself a nice big stretch. So just like you're waking up in the morning, maybe you find yourself automatically yawning. Hands come to prayer and peel yourself up off the ground into staff. On an exhale, bringing your hands towards your toes. Inhale and lower yourself back down to the ground with control. So as you exhale, you peel yourself up, touching your toes or towards your toes. Inhale with control, lowering back down to the ground. See if you can go at your own pace, maybe 5 to 10 more times. Of course, try and keep your feet on the mat as you lift yourself up. If your feet pop up a little bit, just know that you're working towards progress. There's no reason to beat yourself up or get discouraged. So we're beginning to feel maybe a little more heat in our bodies. You might feel those core muscles shaking. Smile and laugh and just enjoy the process. Maybe one more time. Oh, I definitely used some momentum on that one. Alright, so coming into staff. And here, even in just staff, this is a pose that we often use just briefly as a transition. But feel what your body is doing, how it's working here in staff. Flex your feet. Imagine or think about how your sit bones are reaching down, pressing into the mat, while simultaneously the crown of your head is lifting up towards the sky. You can imagine a string attached to the very top of your head, gently lifting you upwards, while you still remember those sit bones anchoring downwards. Now inhale, sweeping your arms up. Exhale, hinge from your hips, folding forward, and please no judgments. So you might not go down as far as you would like to or as you usually do. And that's fine. See if you can bring your attention back towards the sensations. Doesn't it feel good? No matter where your body, how far your body is leaning over, find your edge and feel how good it feels to feel the stretch in the back of your legs. Take a really deep inhale into your belly, and as you do that, imagine your spine is lengthening from the crown of your head down through the tailbone, lengthening in two directions. As you exhale, maybe you're able to Hinge forward, maybe just a millimeter more. Big, deep belly breaths in. Slow, relaxing exhales out. And one more really deep inhale. And a final exhale. Release your head, so let it hang down like a bowling ball as you peel yourself back up to staff. Placing your hands behind you now. Spread your fingers really wide from each other. We're setting ourselves up for reverse plank. So you're going to start to rest your weight into your hands. And you may choose to just stay here. Maybe you feel a nice stretch in your hands and your arms. Maybe you feel your arms gently working to hold you up. That's fine. If you want to go a little further, on an inhale, lift your hips up towards the sky. And your hands now should be right about under your shoulders. So see if you can kind of gauge where they're at. If there's someone in the room with you, you can ask them if your hands are aligned under your shoulders. And just gazing up at the sky. And smiling really helps in this one. Lifting your hips maybe a little bit higher with each inhale. And whenever you need to, you come down on an exhale. Back to staff. Now staff feels a lot easier, doesn't it? It's a resting pose now. Coming back into easy pose. Just a nice, easy seated position. Feel free to grab your blankets or your cushions once again. We won't be here too long. Open your arms out to the side. Big stretch. Breathing and reaching your fingers in both directions. Hugging your right arm in and using your left arm to hug that arm in, just feeling a nice shoulder stretch. So we did this in gym class a lot to warm up. So just a nice basic shoulder warm up. Breathing. Inhale, open up. And on an exhale, hugging the left arm in. And again, just gauging the amount of pressure that your body needs right now. Doesn't need to be a lot. Always being gentle with ourselves. And release. Inhale in. Exhale, right ear to right shoulder. Take an inhale in here and feel that stretch in the left side of your neck. And then as you exhale, rolling your chin and front, kind of rolling it across your chest, all the way to the other side, left ear to left shoulder. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, roll your head across the front of your chest. Once again, right ear to right shoulder. Let your shoulders relax away from the ears. Let them melt as you take an inhale. One more time on the other side, rolling your head forward. Inhale, relax your shoulders. Exhale. Head comes back to chin to chest. Inhale, look up. Chin draws up towards the sky. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, drawing a line with your nose and your chin up towards the sky. And exhale back to neutral. We'll spread our legs nice and wide now. You can stay on your cushion or you can remove it. Keep your feet flexed. So that's the first thing we usually forget here in this pose, as well as keeping our spine tall. And when you keep your spine tall, oftentimes it's like tempting to arch our backs because we think about lengthening and arching. But the best way I found to think about it is thinking about anchoring those sit bones and that tailbone down into the mat while simultaneously feeling that lift from the crown of the head. And you'll just feel that lengthening happening. And it's much more natural and it's much more powerful. You feel this sense of lightness and connectedness. Now go ahead and extend your arms out to the sides. Deep inhale in. Exhale, turn towards the right. And then reach your left fingertips towards your right foot. Inhale back up. Exhale, twist. And reach the right fingertips to the left foot. Inhale back up and repeat that at your own pace, to your own breath. Your fingertips might reach your toes, or they might not. No worries. See if you can keep your spine long and try not to round as you reach forward. So it might just be a gentle, very gentle movement. And you might want to pick up your pace of your breath a little bit and make those exhales a little bit more forceful. Maybe kind of stoke the fire a little bit, get going. Or you might prefer to keep your breaths nice and easy. And that will allow you to lengthen the duration of each stretch. So depending on what your goals are and what your body needs today, you can adjust this pose to meet your needs. One more time on each side. And then we'll meet in tabletop. So if you have a cushion or a thin cushion or a blanket, feel free to place that under your knees in tabletop, and that will just make things a little more comfortable for you. So spreading your fingers wide, placing your hands aligning them under your shoulders, aligning your knees under your hips, looking down between your knees. You shouldn't see your toes, so if you do, just tuck them away so you do not see them anymore. And then begin to come into some cat-cows. So cow, your belly will drop, head and tailbone reach up. Inhaling. As you exhale, see if you can start the movements with the tailbone and just like a wave in the ocean, allowing your body to flow into cat, arching your back, gazing at your navel or your knees, pressing away with your hands. So going at your own pace, just see if you can initiate each movement with the very base of the spine. Now on your last inhale, in cow, pause here. And exhale, lion's breath. Stick your tongue out, look upwards. And then release. That's a fun way to end cat-cow. Now toes together, knees out, relaxing into child's pose. Walk your hands in front of you and rest your forehead on the mat. Take 3 really deep belly breaths here. And again, not only feeling your belly expand, but also feeling your lower back expand, puffing upwards as you inhale. As you exhale, feel your sit bones gradually softening towards your heels. So a total of 3 deep inhales and exhales. And then make your way back up to your knees. Now this is a pose that I found a lot of people enjoy having blocks for. So if you have blocks, you really only need one. But if you have blocks, you can grab them and extend your right leg out to the side. So this is gate pose. Now make sure your knee is aligned under that hip of the left side, and then your knee and your toes are aligned with one another. Setting your block first next to your left knee. Begin by sliding your right hand down the right leg, left arm comes up and over. And then reaching your hand down, it may like to rest on the block, bringing your arm up and over. And repeat this once again at your own pace. And as you lift out of each pose, make sure you're using your stomach muscles and the muscles in your body rather than going really fast and using momentum. If you want a deeper stretch and you don't want this block here, feel free to reach your hand all the way down to the floor. And you can do 1 breath per movement, so inhaling up and over, exhaling up and over the other way, or you can pause in each pose and take a breath or 2. So find what feels right for you and enjoy. Last stretch. Now keep your lower body exactly where it is, and just lower your hands back down to the mat, just like you're in tabletop, but your right leg is still extended. Taking your right fingertips, open up. Now as you exhale, thread the needle. Now in this variation, your shoulder might not reach for the mat, might not touch, that's fine. We're gonna flow with it. So inhale, fingertips up. Exhale, thread through. There's no need to touch the mat. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, thread through. Now hands come back to the mat. Right knee comes in. Left leg comes out. And we'll rise on up to repeat that on the other side. So if you want to use a block, place the block next to your right knee. Remember, right knee aligned under your right hip, toes and knee aligned. And ideally, your left foot will be parallel with the short edge of the mat, so the toes are facing forward. Don't worry too much about forcing it. You're just working towards that shape. So sliding your left hand down the leg, right arm comes up and over. And you know what to do now, so enjoy. flow and customize these movements to your needs right now. Final stretch. And keeping your lower half where it is. Hands come down to the mat underneath your shoulders, so aligned under your shoulders. Right hand stays planted. Left fingertips lift as you inhale. Exhale, thread the needle. And maybe your shoulder touches the mat. Mine definitely doesn't, so no worries. Inhale, up. Exhale, thread it through. One more time. Finally lifting up and then setting your hands down, knee comes in. All right, now we are going to transition to downward facing dog. So I'll just turn, but you stay where you are and tucking your toes under and nice and gently lifting your knees off the mat and tailbone up towards the sky. So your body is like an inverted V. And feel free to keep your knees bent to start, or maybe bend one knee and lower the opposite heel to the ground as you slowly warm up into down dog. Make sure your hands and fingers are spread, I'm sorry, not your hands, but your fingers are spread really wide away from one another. And make sure you're not dumping the weight into your wrists, but you're distributing that weight evenly on your fingers and palms. If your lower back feels tight, separate your feet wider. If your shoulders feel tight, maybe try separating your hands a little further away from one another. Now on an inhale, shifting forward, seeing if you can come into up dog. It's okay if you keep your toes tucked here because we're going to flow back and forth, but your chest is lifted, your thighs are not touching the ground, they're hovering. Exhale, push back to down dog. Inhale, transition to up dog. And if this is too much on your lower back, you can just stay in plank instead of going all the way into up dog. Exhale. Inhale, maybe one more time. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. All right, so we're all here in down dog. Go ahead and lift your right leg up towards the sky, one-legged down dog. Now gazing forward, bringing that right leg up and step it between your hands. So now we're in a low lunge. Imagine your heart is shining forward. So it's an opening of the chest here in low lunge. Now if you are ready and feeling stable, see if you can lift your upper body up into high lunge. So your back toe is still tucked, heel off the mat. So this is lunge, not warrior yet. Breathe in. Deep inhale in. Now arms reach back in line with your back leg, airplane arms as you exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, body comes on a diagonal. Shoot your arms away from you, airplane arms, like you're taking off into the sky. A couple more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Final inhale. And then exhale, arms down to the mat. Step back into downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths in downward facing dog. And we'll repeat on the other side. So inhale your left leg up. Exhale, bring it forward and step your left foot between your hands. Shine your heart forward. When you feel ready, inhale, lifting your upper torso and arms up into a high lunge. So breathing here and just releasing and relaxing into the pose. So think about your hips sinking downwards. You don't want to be hunching forward or leaning back. Nice and straight from the tailbone up through the head. Inhale. Now exhale, airplane arms. You're leaning forward, keeping your spine straight. Really feeling the abs turning on and the front leg being activated. So flowing with your own breath from high lunge to airplane. One more time. High lunge, airplane. Final high lunge, lifting, and exhale, arms and hands down to the mat, and step back into downward facing dog. Now downward facing dog probably feels really easy and really nice, so enjoy it. Maybe you feel your heels are a little closer towards the mat than they were before. Now usually we walk our feet to our hands. This time, let's try walking our hands towards our feet until we come into a forward fold. Go ahead and relax. So bend your knees, let your head hang heavy, coming into a rag doll. So just letting everything go. Maybe you want to grab your elbows with the opposite hands. And this will allow you to release your neck and shoulders even more. Feel free to sway side to side. Maybe nod your head yes. And no, your head swings like a pendulum. And release your arms. And slowly peel yourself up to standing. And just pause here in mountain. So arms are down by your sides, shoulders are relaxed. Feel your feet pressing into the earth, while again, simultaneously, the crown of your head reaches up towards the sky. Mountain is another pose that we don't practice for usually a sustained period of time in like a hatha yoga class or a vinyasa flow class. But it's so powerful to feel both feet evenly planted on the ground. To feel this sort of humble acceptance. You're open and you're not guarding. So often we cross our arms in one way or another. So in this pose, we're just here. So it's a very confident pose. So if you're ever feeling anxious, this one might be hard to get into, but if you're able to practice it, it can be really beneficial for finding our place in physical space and in the world. So if your feet are very close together, go ahead and just walk them a little bit out, maybe about hip width apart. And begin to imagine like you're picking fruit off of a tree. So come up on your tippy toes and reach up, lower down. Other side, other hand reaches up, coming up on your tippy toes and lower down. And so continue to pick some fruit. You can imagine maybe what type of fruit you're picking. Really get yourself in that moment. Maybe trying to pick that highest piece of fruit off the highest branch. And at first this is like, oh, this is nice and easy. But then you'll start to feel your legs. Start to feel the abductors as well. Or I'm sorry, the abs as well. Abdominals. And if you breathe faster than me, feel free to go faster. Maybe one more time on each side. And relax. Maybe just separating your feet just wider than hip width. Not too much wider though. Bringing your arms all the way up. Imagine like you're holding a really big beach ball over your head, so like one of those giant ones. Inhale, and then as you exhale, just bring that beach ball over to the right. Inhale, back up. Exhale, bring that beach ball over to the left. Inhale, back up, and relax your arms. Coming to the front of the mat if you're not already there. And so now we'll flow with a sequence that kind of uses sun salutations as the backbone, but we'll be adding some other poses as well, so please try to stay with me. And unlike sometimes when sun salutations is one breath per movement, we'll be holding most of these poses for at least a couple of breaths. So stay focused, stay present, stay with me. So as you inhale, coming back onto your tippy toes, reaching up, stay here for a couple of breaths. So you're on your tippy toes, reaching up with both hands. You're breathing in and out. Another deep inhale. Now as you exhale, lower your heels and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands are on your shins or your thighs. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step your right foot back. Shining your heart forward, taking an inhale. And then as you exhale, left foot steps back. Now we're in plank. Hold plank for 3, 2, 1. Now set your knees down, toes come up. Keep your elbows glued to your sides as you slowly lower down to the ground. Now can you try some push-ups from here? Lowering down and up. And this really targets the triceps. And if you can keep your shoulder blades turned on as well, feeling those muscles in the upper back, getting a workout too. Whew, all right, and then lower down with control. And now just rest for a moment in crocodile. So heels in, toes out. Make a pillow with your hands. Rest one cheek on that pillow. And see if you can release that tension that you've just built up in your body. See if you can let it melt away. Bring that bottom hand on the top of your pillow now and switch cheeks to rest. So you're just getting an even stretch in your neck here. Nice. Now bringing your feet, gluing them together now like the tail of a snake. Hands are underneath your shoulders by your chest. Fingers spread wide. Starting with your mouth, chin, or forehead on the mat. Inhale, lift just your head and chest off the ground. Baby cobra. Exhale, lower. So lift as you inhale into cobra. Exhale, lower. Final time lifting, and we'll stay here and breathe for 3 cycles of breath. Keeping your elbows glued into your chest, using your shoulder blades to kind of pull your chest open. So you're not craning your neck or lifting up with your head. You're keeping your neck a neutral extension of your spine. And third, exhale, release. Now tuck your toes under, come up onto your knees, and then push back into downward dog. So taking a couple cycles of breath in down dog. Now again, stay with me here. Inhale, lifting your right leg up towards the sky. And as you exhale, bring your right knee to tap your right elbow. Inhale, back to one-legged down dog. Exhale, right knee now comes forward to tap your left elbow. So you're getting a little cross-body action. Inhale, back to one-legged down dog. Inhale, sweep your knee forward. Now it comes to the center, kind of hovering between your hands. Inhale, one-legged down dog. And now as you exhale, step your right foot forward into low lunge. Inhale, shine your heart forward. And exhale, step your left foot to meet your right. Inhale, sweep up to standing. Hands to prayer. Take a cycle of breath here. And we'll repeat on the other side. Inhale. Sweep your arms up. Remember, we come up onto our tippy toes first. And stay here. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now on an exhale, lower your heels. Dive down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Back is flat like a tabletop, and your shoulder blades are squeezing together. Exhale, hands down. Step your left foot back. Shine your heart forward. Exhale, right foot back into plank. Now you can try the knees down, toes up method, or if you want to just do a regular chaturanga by bending your elbows and lowering your body down, you certainly can do that as well. All right, so now we're resting here on the ground. And let's go ahead and do that pigeon again. So your hands are at your sides, peeling your upper body up. Keep your feet glued together using your back muscles, and don't crane your neck. Keep your neck a neutral extension of your spine, so it should be looking maybe about a foot in front of you at the ground. Breathing. And exhale, release. Tuck your toes under. Shift onto your knees, and then push back into downward dog. Breathing in downward dog. Now inhale, lifting your left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Inhale, one-legged down dog. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhale, one-legged down dog. Exhale, left knee to the center, hovering between your hands. Exhale, one-legged down dog. Inhale, one-legged down dog. Now exhale, step your left foot forward. Inhale, shine your heart forward. Exhale, right foot to meet the left. And inhale, sweep up into standing and lower your hands into prayer. And then resting in mountain just for a moment. I'll read another short passage as you enjoy a quick break in mountain. So, the first step that's described in becoming a warrior, the sacred path of the warrior. And remember, warrior doesn't mean someone who fights or exerts force. It means someone who is brave and brave enough to create peace in this world. So by simply being on the spot, your life can become workable and even wonderful. You realize that you are capable of sitting like a king or queen on a throne. The regalness of that situation shows you the dignity that comes from being still and simple. So this is about meditation, and it's about finding peace within yourself first before you're able to share it with others. A great deal of chaos in the world occurs because people don't appreciate themselves. Having never developed sympathy or gentleness towards themselves, they cannot experience harmony or peace within themselves, and therefore what they project to others is also inharmonious and confused. Instead of appreciating our lives, we often take our existence for granted, or we find it depressing or burdensome. People threaten to harm themselves because they aren't getting what they think they deserve out of life. When you don't punish or condemn yourself, when you relax more and appreciate your body and mind, you begin to contact the fundamental notion of basic goodness in yourself. So it is extremely important to be willing to open yourself to yourself. Developing tenderness towards yourself allows you to see both your problems and your potential accurately. You don't feel that you have to ignore your problems or exaggerate your potential. That kind of gentleness towards yourself and appreciation of yourself is very necessary. It provides the ground for helping yourself and others. So as you meditate on that beautiful passage, you continue to flow. So finding yourself back at the front of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, squeezing your shoulder blades. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step your right foot back. All right, now for the warrior sequence. So starting with warrior one, so what I'd like you to do is walk your left foot a little bit towards the left side of the mat, and then set your right heel down on the mat, but walk your right foot towards the right side of your mat. So if you can think of two railroad tracks, your left foot is on the left railroad track, your right foot is on the right railroad track. Once you feel good with your lower half, lifting your upper body up. Now, hips should be facing forward. If they're not, make those railroad tracks even wider, and that will help. Make sure that the weight of your back leg is not pressing into the inner arch of your foot, but rather turn that weight and apply it a little bit more on the outer edge, the pinky side edge of your foot. Inhale, arms up, sink down. relax. Can you be gentle and soften? And by doing so, we're creating a greater potential for peace. And that really is, in the context of everything we're talking today, what it is to be a warrior. Being brave towards the uncertain. Staying soft and positive. Now hands behind your back, interlace, open up as you inhale. As you exhale, bow down, humble warrior. Arms can reach up towards the sky. Imagine as if you're trying to bite your big toe, as Prasad would say. Feeling that nice opening in your left hip. Breathe and smile. Now inhale with control, sweeping yourself back up. And we'll transition to warrior 2. So realign your feet so they're in one line. Your left toes are still facing forward, right toes are still on a diagonal. Arms reach out in either direction. Check your right fingertips to make sure they're parallel with the ground, and then gaze out over your left fingertips. Sink down. Now your hips should both be facing the long edge of your mat. Is your left knee caving inwards? If so, draw it back so that it's in line right over your left ankle. You'll probably feel your glutes engage as you do that. Flip your front palm, lean back, reverse warrior. Gazing into your palm. As you exhale, left forearm comes to left thigh, right arm comes up and over. Pivoting on your back toes so your heel pops up as you lower back down into low lunge. Shine your heart forward and step your left foot back into plank. Awesome. Now we'll try side plank. So you can shift your weight to one hand, shine both hips to the side of the room, arm comes up. Think about lifting your hip up towards the ceiling as well. If you prefer, you can lower one knee like a kickstand and open up with that little kickstand, and that'll allow you to find a more gentle version of the pose. So you come out whenever you need to, coming back to plank, and then shifting to the other side. And feel free to go further in this pose if you want to lift your leg up to the sky or something that's in your practice. But take the variation that you need right now. When you're ready, coming back to plank. And then we'll do a Ashtanga this time. So knees down, forearms down, chest dives down between your hands. Lift your elbows off the mat. And as you inhale, slide up to up dog this time. So set your knees down, tuck your toes under, push back to downward facing dog. Pedal your feet. Inhale, right leg comes up towards the ceiling. Bend your right knee. Stack your right hip on top of your left. Gaze in underneath your right armpit. Feeling that beautiful opening of the hip and the side body. Breathing. Shift back to one-legged down dog. And exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Shining your heart forward as you inhale. Exhale, left foot steps forward. Inhale, sweep up to standing. Exhale, hands in prayer. So we'll repeat that on the left side. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step your left foot back. Now remember, we set ourselves up for warrior one. So walk your right foot to the right, left foot to the left as you set your left heel down. When you feel good and stable, take your time, but when you're ready, lifting up to warrior one. Hips are facing forward, left back foot takes more weight on the outer pinky toe edge instead of the inner arch. This will protect your knee. Interlace your hands behind as you inhale, open up the chest. Exhale, hinging from the hips, bow down into humble warrior. And from here, we'll breathe. See if you can smile. See if you can soften and relax into the pose. And on an inhale, with control, sweeping up into warrior one, and then shifting into warrior two. Feet are parallel with one another now. Hips are facing the left side of your room. Take a look at your left fingertips. Are they parallel with the mat? And then gazing out over your right fingertips, breathing. Flip your right palm up, lean back, humble warrior. Exhale, right forearm to right thigh, left arm comes up and over. Pivot on your back toes to come down into low lunge, shining your heart forward. Exhale, step back into plank. And we'll skip the side planks because we already did that on both sides. So your choice, how you want to come down to the ground. You can do Ashtanga, Chaturanga, that half push-up, but we'll all meet on our bellies. And take a quick crocodile. So making a pillow with your hands, toes out, heels in. Just 1 or 2 breaths. If you're looking to one side, go ahead and look to the other side to get an even stretch in your neck. And then we'll try a really deep chest opener here. So go ahead and bring your feet together. Left hand will just rest next to your body, kind of like you're getting ready for cobra. But extend your right arm out to the side, palm facing down. Now begin to walk your right hand away from you, kind of like walking your fingertips away, and then start to roll over as you continue to walk your fingertips away from you. Once you can't roll over any further, your left foot will roll all the way behind you and rest on the mat. If that's not happening, you can just, I'll show you on this side. So if that is not happening, yes, that knee in front of you. But if possible, you can open all the way up with that foot resting behind you. So you're feeling a really deep opening in the right shoulder and chest and pec muscle. Breathe and release. And we'll try that on the other side. So left arm out to the side, palm facing down. Creep your fingertips away from you, walking them away from your body as you roll over. Right foot comes all the way behind to rest on the mat, or maybe your knee is just bent and resting on the mat. So it's more gentle and a less deep variation. But for most people, this pec opener feels really good. If this causes you any pain, or you've had any recent back injury, You may want to avoid this because it is a deep twist and a deep opener of your shoulders. Coming back to the center. Pressing your hands back into the mat, shifting onto your knees, and downward facing dog. This is our final down dog of the day. So enjoy, maybe let your head relax a little bit. So just think about easing into this down dog. Feels a lot easier than it did at first, doesn't it? It feels so natural. Inhale, left leg lifts up. Bend your left knee, stacking your left hip over your right hip, gazing under your left armpit. Breathing. Shifting back to one-legged down dog. Deep inhale in. Exhale, left foot comes between your between your hands. Inhale, heart shines forward. Exhale, right foot comes to the front of the mat. And inhale, sweep up to standing. Pausing in mountain. So now we'll try a quick balancing pose, and then we'll start to slowly wind down with a few more deep stretches and then a shavasana. I may go just about 5 minutes over since we did get a late start because of the audio issues. So bringing your feet together, maybe about hip width apart or possibly a bit less. If you find that balance is something that you struggle with or are working on, you may want a chair or come to the wall to help you. And we'll try Lord of the Dance today, or dancer pose. So first begin by rocking back and forth on your feet. Allow your feet to feel connected with the mat. Maybe rocking side to side. Imagine as if little tiny roots are branching out from the soles of your feet and toes, anchoring you down into the mat. Now you decide which foot you'd like to start on today. And we'll begin by opening our palm out to the side. So your palm's facing up like you're holding a saucer or like you're a waitress. And then you'll grab your foot with that open palm. So you're grabbing onto the inner arch of your foot. Now even just here, you'll start to feel a nice stretch if you pull your knee back and line your hips up with one another. If you'd like to go further, inhaling your left arm up or whichever opposite arm. And begin to lean forward, kicking your hand and foot up towards the sky. Maybe find a focal point or a drishti to gaze at and focus on. Stay light. And whenever you need to, you come on out. So save time to come out. You don't want to fall out of the pose. Of course, it happens sometimes, but see if you can save enough time to come out gracefully. Whenever you're ready, we'll repeat on the other side. Take a moment to once again reestablish that anchoring and that rooting into the ground. Grabbing your foot from the inner arch, palm facing out. And first, before going into it, we don't want to be all crooked. So think about your knees in alignment with one another, your hips in alignment with one another, and then to feel a greater stretch, just start to pull that foot back, and it'll pull your knee back a little bit. Now, if you notice your hip also pops back, see if you can keep the hips in one alignment still. So even just that is tricky and challenging for a lot of us. But if you want to go further, which you certainly don't have to, but you can begin to lean forward, extending that arm. And I'll show it from this side. So saving plenty of time to come out. You might notice one side's easier than the other. Now, this is another pose that you might want a block for, or possibly 2 blocks. So we'll be using the long edge of our mat here. So just placing the blocks in front of you. Begin to walk your feet nice and wide. So as wide as feels right for you. And we can always widen them more later. And, oh, I forgot, we want to do a goddess. So maybe not quite as wide as your widest stance for now, but this will be star to star. So your fingers will be reaching in opposite directions. Bring your toes in, heels in, toes out. So exploding star, you're thinking about a lot of energy kind of radiating from your body. Now begin to bend your elbows, bend your knees, sink down, lowering from your pelvis. Feel free to stick your tongue out, look up as you exhale out your mouth. Inhale, star. Exhale, goddess. One more time, inhale, star. Feel free to get crazy with it, really release any bad energy, anything that's not serving you right now. Now, if you'd like to, maybe you want to walk your feet a little further apart, just maybe, you don't have to. Placing your hands on your hips, hinging forward. Now, whereas before your toes were pointing outwards, now your toes will be pointing forwards. So the sides of your feet are parallel with the short edges of the mat. Eventually, your hands will come down either to the mat or to the blocks. Maybe you're like, oh, I actually want to separate my feet even wider. So feel free to make any adjustments once you're here. And then again, allow yourself to release. Once you're in a place that feels comfortable and stable for you, see if you can ease into the pose. Letting yourself soften. Creating more space in your physical body as well as mentally, more space for love, for compassion, for peace, for acceptance. Now, really carefully protecting your knees, heel toe, your feet in, until you're at a point where maybe some of you can bend your knees and lower down into Malasana or garland pose. If that is not doable for you right now, slowly come out of that forward fold back to standing, and then what you'll do is you will either roll your mat up or use some folded blankets to create a little ledge for your heels. So this helps a lot for those of us with ankles that are very tight or just not naturally flexible. So coming back down into Malasana with your heels on a blanket or your rolled mat. All right, so once we're all here, take your time. Please don't rush into it. You'll take your right bicep, or tricep, excuse me, and glue it onto the inside of your thigh, placing your right palm on the mat. So you're gluing that arm to the thigh, and it's allowing you to pry yourself open. So as you do this, you feel this opening of your right hip while also opening your body to the left. Take your left arm, wrap it behind you. So you're reaching for your right hip, gazing up over your left shoulder. If your shoulder allows it, you can take a full bind, taking your right arm and wrapping it around, reaching for your left. For me, my shoulders, it's not good for them, so just do a half twist here. And unwind carefully, coming back to the center. Elbows are pressing the hips out. And repeat on the other side. So setting the left palm down and really press that arm into the inner left thigh. Right arm comes up, wraps around your body to reach for the left hip. Open up. Feel free to take a full bind by wrapping the left arm all the way around and reaching for your fingertips. Gazing up over your right shoulder. And slowly unwind. Coming back to Malasana. And hands down on the mat and just slowly walk out of that pose. Just releasing or removing the blanket out of the way, or unfolding your mat once again. And we'll come all the way down onto our backs. So just like we started here, separate your feet about hip width apart or maybe a bit wider. Let your knees fall together. Place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. Check in. As we discussed, being aware of ourselves and finding peace within ourselves is the first step towards warriorship. Before we can work towards creating peace in the whole world, we have to find peace within and be brave to look within and accept anything that might scare us. Accept the uncomfortable. Now, go ahead and place your hands at your sides, palms facing down, so alongside your body. And walk your feet so that they are as close to your sit bones as possible. So we're setting ourselves up for bridge here. When you're ready, no rush, when you're ready, inhale, lift your hips up off the mats. Now we'll breathe and flow with it. So exhale, lower down. Feel each vertebrae lowering down, pressing into the mat until you finally let your tailbone reach down. And again, inhale, hips reach up for the full duration of the inhale. So see if you can lengthen that inhale. And exhale, lower. Now final time. Inhale, lift, and we'll stay here this time, if you'd like. So you're staying here and breathing, and feel free to go deeper by interlacing your hands and walking up onto your triceps. So now your shoulders are peeling up off the mat. In this pose, please don't turn your head or try to look at the video. or a friend. If you need to look, come out of the pose and then turn your head. With each inhale, your hips reach a little bit higher. Try not to let your knees splay out to the sides. Imagine as if you have a block between your knees, so about that much space between them, and you'll feel your glutes engaging as you do this. Final inhale, lift your hips as high as they'll go, and then nice and slowly releasing one vertebrae at a time down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest and rock side to side. Hugging just your right knee in, extend your left leg down to the ground. And again, taking your time, maybe about 3 to 5 cycles of inhales and exhales, giving yourself time to allow your knee to draw closer to your chest. And then taking your right knee in your left hand, open your right arm out to the side, palm facing up. On an exhale, lower your knee all the way across your body, over to the left, into a twist. And as you do this, you might find that your right arm or shoulder pop up off the ground. See if you can bring them back to the ground. This may mean that you'd like to have a block or a bolster supporting that right knee if it's hovering over the ground and if that feels uncomfortable to you. Once you're in this twist and you feel like you're in a good place, all you have to do is breathe so you can let go of any tension. Your muscles don't need to be doing a lot here. So notice anywhere you might still be holding tension and give yourself permission to release. Soften your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax your legs. And with control, bringing your right knee back up towards the center, hugging it in one final time to your chest, and extend your right leg all the way down to the ground. Now hugging your left knee in, allowing yourself 3 to 5 cycles of breath to slowly bring your knee towards your chest. Extend your left arm out to the side, palm facing up, and taking your knee in your right hand, lower it across your body over to the right. And again, if your knee doesn't completely touch the ground, you can use a block or a bolster to bring the ground up to you. Noticing where you might be holding on to tension, and give yourself permission to release, soften. With control, bringing your knee back up to the center. Hug it in one final time. And release the left leg to meet the right. Now from here we'll take a Shavasana, and I do recognize that if you're following along, it is 10:30, and so you're welcome, of course, if you need to go about your day. But I do hope that you find so about 5 to 10 more minutes to rest in Shavasana. I apologize that we got that late start. But if possible, Shavasana is so important. So feel free to take a moment to get comfortable here. So rolled up blanket or a pillow under your head are really nice. A really nice way to give your neck a little treat as you lay on the ground. So you can roll up a blanket, or maybe you have a neck roll that you can use. And feel free to lay in a traditional Shavasana, of course, which is no props. Your toes are open, heels are in, your feet are a little wider than your hips, and your hands are by your sides, palms facing up, about a foot distance away from your body. If your lower back is tight, you'll likely want to bend your knees. You can use a bolster underneath your knees, or you can prop your feet up on a chair or a couch. And that's a really great way to ground your back. So take a variation that feels good to your body today. And if you have a blanket nearby and you don't usually support your neck, please give it a try. And once again, checking in, noticing the physical sensations that are going on in your body. Noticing your mental state. What are the thoughts that you're telling yourself right now? Maybe contemplate, how can I be gentler with myself? The dawn of the great eastern sun is based on an actual experience. It is not a concept. You realize that you can uplift yourself, that you can appreciate your existence as a human being. Whether you are a gas station attendant or the president of the country, doesn't really matter. When you experience the goodness of being alive, you can respect who and what you are. You need not be intimidated by lots of bills to pay, diapers to change, food to cook, or papers to be filed. Fundamentally, in spite of all those responsibilities, you begin to feel that it is a worthwhile situation to be a human being, to be alive, not afraid of death. So the Great Eastern Sun vision is based on appreciating ourselves and appreciating our world. So it is a very gentle approach. Because we appreciate the world, we don't make a mess of it. We take care of our bodies, we take care of our minds, and we take care of the world. The world around us is regarded as very sacred, so we have to constantly serve our world and clean it up. As you continue to relax in Shavasana, allow everything to continue to melt, to soften. Relax your eyes and your forehead. Relax your ears and your jaw, letting your jaw unclench and your tongue relax. Let your shoulders melt into the mat. Let your belly soften. Let your back and hips enjoy the comforting support of the earth, of the ground, allowing everything to relax. Let your thighs release. Let your knees and shins relax. Let your feet relax, opening your toes out to the sides, like your feet are opening up like a book. You remind yourself that this time is for you to be still and peaceful in mind and in body. So if thoughts arise, as they most likely will, see if you can identify them exactly for what they are without dwelling on them. So labeling, like, oh, that's my to-do list, or oh, that's a worry I have about later today, or something of that nature, and then allow it to pass. Just like you notice the clouds in the sky, and then let them pass by. Bring your attention back to the clear blue sky, not dwelling on the thoughts that arise. through the patience of being still and following your breath as it goes out and dissolves. You are connecting with your heart by simply letting yourself be as you are. You develop genuine sympathy towards yourself, which is the first step of finding sympathy and love and acceptance towards others as well. Begin to bring a little bit of movement back into your feet and your fingers. Feel free to gently roll your head side to side, rolling the back of the head across the mat, once again loosening up the neck. If it feels right, maybe take a big stretch. And then rolling over onto your side into a fetal position. Reminding yourself that you have the choice to return your breath, to return your mindset, and to return back to this feeling anytime you need. So whenever you notice yourself feeling stressed or anxious or not like a warrior, remind yourself you can bring yourself back to this place of peace and calm and love. And it's a choice you can make. So remember how this feels. Seal it in. And push yourself up to a seated position. Bringing your hands to prayer, we can finish with one chant of Om. The light that is within me bows down and honors the light that is within you. Namaste. Thank you so much to those of you that stayed a little bit longer today. I'm so sorry about the audio again, but I appreciate your patience and so appreciate you practicing with me today. Know that there's a whole community practicing as well, either now or later throughout the week. Great. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.